Mia lived in the vibrant city of Nairobi, where the sun rose each morning with a gentle promise of hope, even if the streets below bustled with the weight of everyday life. Her bakery, named Mia's Daily Bread, was a medium-sized modern space that stood on a lively street corner, its warm glow offering a quiet refuge from the city's rush. The glass doors gleamed softly in the morning light, welcoming everyone who passed by with the rich aroma of freshly baked bread and the comforting sight of wooden shelves lined with warm loaves and delicate pastries. The bakery's walls were painted a calming cream, and soft music played low in the background, blending seamlessly with the clatter of cups and the low murmur of customers who found solace in the simple pleasure of good food. Mia was only 24, yet her gentle spirit had shaped the bakery into more than just a place to eat. It was a haven, a gathering spot for early risers who found warmth in the rich scent of coffee and the sweetness of her honeyed loaves. Each morning before the first light touched the city's tallest buildings, Mia arrived at her bakery to begin her quiet rituals. She tied her apron, checked the ovens that had become her closest allies, and let her hands move over the dough in calm, measured motions. The machines hummed softly around her, but it was her hands that brought life to each loaf, her quiet care that turned simple ingredients into something that felt like home. She had built her bakery not just as a business, but as a place of kindness in a city that could be hard. Mia had grown up without parents, raised by an aunt who had also left her too soon, and so she understood the quiet ache of loneliness. Yet even in her own solitude, she found comfort in the simple act of giving. Her bakery was modern and bright, but it carried the warmth of a small home, a place where the scent of cinnamon and the gentle clink of cups became a soft reminder that kindness could be found even in the heart of the city. Each morning, as she watched the city come to life outside her wide windows, she felt a quiet peace settle in her chest. It was in this rhythm of gentle giving that Mia noticed the old man who began to visit her street. He came slowly, his movements careful, wrapped in clothes that had seen better days. His wheelchair moved with a soft creak over the smooth pavement outside her doors. He never asked for anything, never looked up at the bright sign above her bakery. But Mia saw him. She always set aside a warm roll or a small pastry, something simple yet made with the same quiet care she gave to every customer. In the modern space she had crafted with her own hands, Mia had created a small corner of the world that offered more than bread. It offered kindness, and it offered hope. Each morning, as the sun's light filtered through the glass windows of her bakery, Mia's attention was always drawn to the old man in the wheelchair. Her bakery was modern and welcoming, with pale wooden floors that glowed softly under the gentle lighting, and the hum of conversation was a comforting backdrop to her busy days. Yet, no matter how many customers came and went, no matter how the shelves filled and emptied with loaves of crusty bread and sweet, sticky buns, Mia's gaze always found the old man as he sat in the quiet shadows just beyond her bright window. The old man had become a part of the bakery's daily rhythm, like the soft ticking of the old clock that hung on the wall above the espresso machine. He never entered the bakery, never crossed the threshold that separated the warm, yeasty air from the restless city beyond. He would wait at the edge of the pavement, his wheelchair parked carefully near the large flower pots Mia kept outside her doors. His eyes were always cast down, as if he did not want to intrude on the comfort of the space she had made for others. Yet Mia saw him as clearly as she saw the rows of golden loaves that lined her shelves. In the quiet moments before the rush of the day, she would wrap a warm roll or a soft piece of cake in parchment and place it in a small paper bag. She would step outside and offer it to him with gentle hands, and though he never looked up, he would take it with the same quiet care. The customers inside the bakery sometimes watched this small exchange, their faces softening as they saw the kindness in Mia's simple gesture. Some wondered why she would give away food for nothing, but Mia never let their questions trouble her. She knew that in the quiet act of giving, there was a kind of wealth no money could ever match. As the days turned into weeks, the old man's presence became a kind of anchor for Mia. He was a part of her mornings, a silent reminder of the power of gentle compassion in a world that so often forgot its own heart. The bakery was her dream, a modern space filled with laughter and warmth, but the quiet man outside became a part of that dream too. In the soft light of the Nairobi mornings, Mia found herself hoping that in some small way her bread was more than just food for him, that in each bite he took he found a measure of peace and comfort he might not have known otherwise. The sun rose over Nairobi in soft golden streaks, lighting up the modern skyline and the bustling streets below. Mia's bakery, with its bright windows and clean wooden counters, was already alive with the scent of fresh bread and the soft murmur of early customers. Yet that morning, something felt different. The old man who had become a part of her mornings was not there. His usual spot by the flower pots outside the bakery was empty, and the quiet space felt like a missing note in the gentle melody of her day. Mia tried to keep her mind on her work, letting the familiar motions of kneading and shaping dough steady her thoughts. The ovens glowed warm, and the shelves filled with golden loaves, but each time she looked out the wide windows, her eyes searched for the familiar figure in the wheelchair. The city moved around her bakery in its usual rhythm, motorbikes weaving through traffic, vendors calling out their goods, the bright colors of the market just beyond. Yet for Mia, the world felt just a little dimmer, the colors dulled by the empty space outside her door. The customers came and went, filling the bakery with laughter and the gentle clink of cups, but Mia's thoughts kept returning to the old man. She stepped outside between the morning rush, asking the vegetable seller nearby if she had seen him. The woman only shrugged, her hands busy sorting green beans into neat piles. Mia's heart felt heavy as she asked the young boy who sold small sachets of water by the curb, but he only shook his head. She even asked the courier, who always waited by the tree, his bicycle resting beside him, but he had no answers. The old man had vanished, and with him, the quiet peace that had settled over her bakery each morning. As the day stretched on, Mia's mind turned over memories like warm stones. She remembered the quiet way he took her bread, how he never met her eyes, but always accepted her offering with a gentle care. She remembered how his presence had become part of the bakery's heart, a silent testament to the kindness she had built her life around. Now, in his absence, the bakery felt different. The modern shelves were still filled with fresh bread, the coffee still steamed in the soft morning light, but the small corner by the window felt hollow. Mia kept his seat in her thoughts, hoping that wherever he had gone, he had found comfort and rest. And though the city moved on as it always did, she felt the echo of his absence in every quiet moment. Days turned into weeks, and still the old man did not return. Mia's bakery was filled with the same warmth and laughter, the gentle hum of customers who found comfort in her sweet cinnamon rolls and warm, crusty bread. Yet each morning, as she pushed open the glass doors and stepped into the soft glow of her bakery, her eyes would drift to the quiet space outside the window, hoping for a glimpse of the man who had become a part of her days. The city of Nairobi moved in its endless rhythm beyond the windows, children hurrying to school, buses weaving through the traffic, the bright colors of kitenge cloth fluttering in the breeze. But for Mia, each day began with a small ache in her chest. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low and the bakery's last customers finished their warm drinks, a man in a sleek black coat stepped through the glass doors. He carried a brown envelope in his hand, its edges neat and smooth, and his face was calm and quiet. Without a word, he placed the envelope on the counter and turned to leave, his steps as silent as the hush that settled over the bakery in his wake. Mia stood there, her hands dusted with flour, her heart fluttering with the weight of the moment. She looked at the envelope, the creamy paper smooth beneath her fingertips, and wondered what message it carried. She waited until the bakery was empty, the last crumbs swept from the warm wooden floors and the soft lights dimmed. She sat at the corner table by the window, the one that caught the last light of the day, and slowly opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, the writing elegant and careful. It was an invitation, simple and precise, telling her to come to the Grand Meridian Hotel by 4 o'clock that very afternoon. There were no explanations, no signatures, only those quiet words that carried the weight of something she could not yet name. Mia's heart pounded in her chest as she read the note again and again, the words sinking into her mind like a gentle wave. She thought of the old man and the soft, tired way he had looked at her loaves of bread each morning. She thought of the kindness she had offered him without ever expecting anything in return. And now, in the quiet of her bakery, she felt a quiet certainty settle over her. She knew she had to go, even if she did not know what waited for her beyond the polished doors of the Grand Meridian. The sun outside the windows had already begun its slow descent, casting long, soft shadows across the warm glow of the bakery. Mia rose slowly, her hands steady, and locked the door behind her as she stepped out into the fading light of the city. Mia's steps were slow as she walked through the quiet streets of Nairobi, the letter held gently in her hand like a promise. The city's busy sounds softened around her, the laughter of children and the distant hum of traffic fading into the quiet rush of her own thoughts. She had passed the Grand Meridian Hotel many times, its gleaming glass walls and polished floors a world apart from the worn pavement and crowded corners of her neighborhood. Today, she would not pass it by. She would step inside. The hotel's entrance was a place of quiet grandeur. Tall glass doors opened with a soft sigh as she entered, and the air inside was cool and still, touched by the faint scent of fresh flowers and polished wood. Soft music played in the background, a gentle melody that floated through the air like a warm breeze. The lobby was a place of calm beauty, clean lines, warm light, and the quiet murmur of people who spoke in hushed, careful tones. Mia felt the difference in every breath she took, each step she made on the smooth marble floor. A man in a tailored suit stepped forward and took the letter from her hand. His eyes were calm, his movements practiced and kind. Without a word, he led her down a long corridor, the soft lights casting gentle shadows on the walls. The hotel felt like another world, one of quiet luxury and careful attention, a place where each detail was meant to soothe and comfort. Mia walked slowly, her heart beating softly in her chest, her thoughts turning over and over like dough beneath her careful hands. The man stopped in front of a tall, polished door and gestured that she should enter. Mia paused for a moment, her fingers resting lightly on the door's smooth handle, feeling the weight of the quiet world beyond. She pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was bathed in soft light, the air warm and still. In the center of the room sat the old man she had known, but he no longer looked like the quiet figure in the wheelchair who had waited patiently each morning outside her bakery. His clothes were clean, his posture straight, and his eyes held a quiet strength that seemed to echo in the gentle hush of the room. Mia felt her breath catch in her throat as she took in the quiet wonder of it all, her heart opening like a flower to the light. Mia stood still, her eyes soft with surprise as she looked at the old man sitting so calmly in the warm light of the room. He no longer seemed to be the frail figure who had once waited by her modern bakery's door each morning. His presence carried a quiet dignity, his shoulders straight beneath a neat jacket, and the way he sat, balanced and composed, spoke of a man who was comfortable in this world of soft music and quiet refinement. The air in the room felt gentle and steady, as if it had been waiting for this moment to unfold. The man began to share a story, his calm presence a quiet reassurance in the hush that surrounded them. They spoke of a life spent building and giving, of hotels and businesses that reached far beyond the edges of the city she knew. He spoke of how wealth could change the hearts of those around him, how kindness often became a performance when there was something to be gained. So, He had chosen to step away for a time, to see if true compassion still lived in the world. Mia listened in stillness, each word settling gently in her heart, like a soft touch. She thought of the man she had known in the quiet mornings by her bakery, the way he had taken her bread with slow, careful hands, never meeting her gaze, never asking for more than she could give. She realized that this had been a test, a quiet question that had waited for her to answer not with words, but with the simple gift of kindness. In the silence of the room, she felt no anger at the truth he shared. Instead, she felt a quiet awe, a soft gratitude for the way life could turn on such small, simple moments. As she sat in the warm light of the room, she realized that kindness was never wasted. Each small act she had offered him had not gone unnoticed. It had grown into something larger than she could have imagined. The man's gentle eyes held hers, and she understood that the city outside, so full of noise and movement, was not the only world she belonged to. Here, in this calm room where her kindness had been seen, she found a quiet space where her heart could rest. In that stillness, she felt her life expanding beyond the flour-dusted counters of her bakery, reaching out towards something brighter, something she had always carried in her heart. Mia stepped out of the Grand Meridian that day, with her mind full of wonder and her heart open to possibilities she had never dared to imagine. The city of Nairobi stretched out around her, the noise and color of its busy streets pressing close, yet she felt a quiet stillness within her that made each breath feel deeper, each step more certain. The man she had once known only as a quiet presence in her mornings had offered her a new beginning, a chance to bring her warmth and kindness to a place where it could shine even brighter. She returned to her medium-sized bakery with a gentle resolve, each loaf she shaped and each cup she poured carrying a new weight of purpose. The glass doors still glowed softly in the morning light, welcoming neighbors and strangers alike, and the warm smell of fresh bread still wrapped around each visitor like a gentle hug. But in Mia's heart, she knew that change was coming. Not an end, but a gentle unfolding of something new. The invitation from the Grand Meridian was an opportunity to bring her warmth into a place that welcomed all, where her gentle spirit would not just be a part of her small corner of Nairobi, but would become a quiet force that rippled outwards. In the quiet of her bakery, she thought about what this meant, not just for herself, but for all the quiet mornings she had shared with the old man, for the quiet trust they had built without ever speaking a single word. Mia spent the days that followed preparing for this change, her hands moving over each loaf of bread with the same gentle care, her mind turning over the ways she could bring her small acts of kindness to a new space. The city moved on around her, matatus rushing by, the bright laughter of children echoing down the street. But within her bakery, there was a soft glow of possibility that never dimmed. She knew that in sharing what she had already built something that no wealth could ever buy. As the sun dipped low each evening, she sat quietly in the warm light of her bakery, the quiet hum of the city like a soft song outside her windows. She thought of the journey that had brought her here, from the gentle rise of dough in her early mornings to the quiet trust of a man who had asked for nothing but found everything in her simple gift. And she knew that whatever lay ahead, she would carry that kindness with her, like a small flame that would never go out. Mia's first day in the Grand Meridian's new cafe was touched with a quiet reverence. The polished floors and gentle lighting were a world away from the dusty streets where her modern bakery had once stood, yet she carried the same steady grace with her as she stepped into the bright, open space. The cafe's walls were lined with soft wooden shelves, each one filled with the warmth of fresh bread and the gentle glow of small lamps. The air smelled of roasted coffee and the sweet tang of cinnamon, and every detail spoke of care, a care that Mia knew so well from her own quiet work. The cafe quickly became more than a place for morning tea and warm rolls. It became a small refuge in the busy heart of Nairobi, a place where business travelers in crisp suits sat beside mothers with young children, where students paused between books to sip coffee and share laughter. Mia moved through the gentle rhythm of the cafe with the same calm presence she had always carried, her hands still shaping dough in the early mornings, her heart still steady in the simple acts of giving. Each cup she set before a guest was more than a drink. It was a quiet promise that kindness was never wasted, that in a world that moved so fast, there was still time for care. She never forgot the bakery she had built with her own hands, the way the sun rose over her small glass windows, and the gentle clink of cups that marked each day. But here, in the cafe of the Grand Meridian, she found that her story was not ending. It was growing, gently unfolding in a place where her warmth and quiet strength could reach further. Each evening, when the city outside slipped into soft twilight, Mia would pause by the cafe's wide windows and watch the quiet flow of the streets below. She would remember the old man who had once taken her bread with quiet dignity, and the way his gentle test had become her new beginning. Mia's days were filled with the small, steady acts of care she had always known: fresh loaves lined up in warm rows, pastries that melted on the tongue, and the soft, bright smiles of guests who found comfort in her gentle world. She knew that in sharing her bread, she was sharing something deeper, a quiet reminder that even in a city as vast and restless as Nairobi, kindness was a thread that could bind them all. And in that simple truth, Mia found the peace she had always sought, the soft, steady joy of knowing that the smallest acts of love could echo in the hearts of others, and that in giving, she had found her own strength. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story. Don't forget to drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share this video with your friends and family to help us grow. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and stay inspired.